Hi, Jade. I'm glad you made it. I'm gonna be looking down sometimes because I'm using my other phone. So I'm gonna use this phone to look at comments. How are you? How's everything been going for you? Oh, my girl Nikki came. I knew you were gonna come, girl. See, that's what it is when you have good supporters. You can't hear me? All right, hold on one second. Let me fix this. How about now? Hmm, okay. Maybe. Let me shut this one off for a second. Can you hear me now? Can you? Good? Okay. Okay. Probably because I have the other phone on. So I'm just gonna have to look like so my eyes are gonna be going all over the place. How are you guys doing? Wait for some more people to come in. Ah, I'm doing good. Hanging in there. Kids went back to school this week. My son does blended learning, so he does 1 week at home and then 1 week in school. So you can imagine how that's going for me because I'm running all over the place. But so far today was a good day. Had a million forms to fill out for them, and now they're talking about doing COVID tests on the kids. So I don't really know how I don't know how he's gonna take it. He's probably gonna end up scratching, kicking, and screaming all over the place. So if you don't have kids, good, stay that way for a while. Not that they're a bad thing, because they're not, but it's a lot of work. Definitely is. Definitely is. But we've dealt with so much more. We've dealt with so many things throughout our lives, and I think my son is what really balances me. He just like keeps me steady, rock steady, and that's definitely he's definitely got the key to my heart, and he keeps mommy in her place. Oh, so you can see I'm more organized now. I'm more. I spent like the past hours setting everything up and just doing everything on time. So I wouldn't be messing with the camera and messing with, I still have my computer here, but so I'm gonna be like going back and forth and stuff. But definitely good to see that more people are coming in. That is awesome. If I'm sweating like a pig, please don't mind me. I just put my AC on and I'm like, I think I'm going through perimenopausal syndrome, and I'm only 37 years old. So yeah, you might see me dabbing my face every so often, and you know, these lights don't help me any. Oh boy. So I guess I'm just gonna really just get into it, and I guess whoever decides to join, they'll join. I don't like to like let the intro go on too long or the beginning just like kind of linger on. But if people will, I guess, just come in and out and see how everything is here, and they'll make themselves known as they come in. So, but given that I get a lot of interaction on this channel um, from a lot of different people, which is great, absolutely great, and a lot of different stories. Um, I'm hoping some of the people that have already been commenting on a lot of the videos and have given a lot of their stories, I'm hoping they join in too, because the stories that they've given me and their experiences have been, and the fact that they're still strong, it's amazing. It really is. Because I sometimes compare myself with other people, and just like, I've been through a lot of crap in my life, and I've been through so much, but compared to what so many other people have gone through, I think I think the fact that I've been able to keep it steady and just, stay at ease and not really allow the pain to affect me like that, I can say I'm truly blessed, because so many people have been through so many things when it deals with narcissistic abuse, and just dealing with people that are extremely manipulative, and just devoid of any type of sense of conscience. And you know in last week's chat, when I had dabbled into it, I dabbled into more so where narcissism originates. It's still going in and out, Amanda. I don't know why it's doing that. Can you hear me now? I don't know why. Maybe it's, you know what? Hold on. Maybe it's my headphones. Um, Hold on. I'm gonna take my headphones out. Okay, guys, tell me if you can hear me better now. Awesome. It's probably my headphones. I probably have to reboot them or something. You spent 200 freaking dollars on headphones. You think you get your money's worth? Okay, good. So we're good to go. Um, so yeah, as I was saying, last week's live chat, I kind of delved into the origination of narcissism, whereas it has a lot to do with the caregivers of the. Awesome. Thank you, Manda. Thank you. I think I'm gonna have to reboot the headphones, because those suckers have been giving me issues with a lot of people. They're saying that they couldn't hear it. So awesome. So yeah, I was delving into more or less where narcissism kind of originates. I mean, we look at it as, well, the first thing I wanted to do was talk about um, how society really portrays narcissism, because you have so many people in the world that look at other people, and they're so quick to call someone a narcissist. They're so quick to say, oh, this person is X, Y, and Z, they're a narcissist, or they're like and I think a lot of people have misconceptions. A lot of people tend to look at a person's certain way of doing things, and automatically they're assuming that they're a narcissist, or if someone's a little self-absorbed, or if someone's a little conceited, whatever the case may be, and people will automatically sit there and say, well, that person's a narcissist. It doesn't really work that way. um, that's more the superficial level of narcissism, but in this case we're talking pathological narcissism. All right. So when people are saying, I'm a survivor of narcissistic abuse, I'm a survivor of, you know, of extreme manipulation, narcissism is domestic abuse. If you think about it, it really is. It's domestic abuse, whether it comes from your parents, whether it comes from your lover, whether it comes from your friends. You have a connection with these people, so it is a form of abuse. But a lot of people I notice, like online, on social media, on different platforms, they'll be quick to call someone a narcissist because, they got like selfies up and they're, doing things that a typical extroverted narcissist would do, because the extroverted ones are the ones that are like, look at me, pay attention to me, come towards me, give me your energy. They're the ones who, but they're not really looking at the the pathological the pathological stance of narcissism. That's what I delve into. I delve into the manipulation. I delve into the abuse. I delve into the psychology behind narcissism. And when I see a lot of people, a lot of stories, people send me stories telling me, my ex was like this to me, my mother was like that to me, my family was like, they were displaying so many different forms of abuse. And when we call ourselves, survivors, other people, external people who don't really understand narcissism, when they don't understand the dynamics of it, they tend to look at it as, so, I mean, yeah, you had a boyfriend or you had a girlfriend and they left you for someone else. Get over it. It is what it is. But they don't look at what was going on in the interim. They don't look at what transpired towards the end. They don't look at any of those things. They look at, you're feeling butt hurt because, someone decided not to be with you anymore, and now you're going out and you're doing X, Y, and Z. They, you know what people, what we say. If you weren't there to see what happened and you don't know what truly went down, you can't open your mouth to the situation. And when I see all these stories of the people who have been in relationships with narcissists, and because let's bring it back for a second. A narcissist is someone who identifies with their abuser. So basically, the person or the people who have abused this person emotionally, mentally, even physically, they basically have absorbed all of that in, and have pretty much, like, they shut off the lights of their emotions and the empathy and, sympathizing with people. They absorb all of that in, and then what they do is they project onto other people. So if you've ever noticed people who are I mean, well, not people who are single, but people who have maintained being alone for, for years, talking years at a time. And, some people say, oh, well, maybe that person was alone by choice. Maybe, or maybe that person is a narcissist, and you have a lot of people who just won't put up with their shit. Because narcissists tend to deflect, they project, and of course, everyone who comes into their lives, they're always wrong. The other people are always wrong. So no matter what situation they go through, everybody else is wrong. You're wrong, he's wrong, she's wrong, they're wrong, I'm right, and they have this victim mentality, because now, being who they are, and they manage to drive away people, it could be good people, good kind-hearted people. They they live with this victim mentality, failing to understand that their actions are the reason why they're alone, why they are living their lives the way they do. I mean, you have so many different types of narcissists. And, you guys know that in my videos, I go over a number of different types of narcissists. One person could be dealing with a covert narcissist. Another person could be dealing with a malignant narcissist. Another one could be dealing with an overt. You have one who could be dealing with an inverted or a vulnerable. There's just like so many of them. And then you can cross-reference them. That's the crazy thing. So you can cross-reference a covert, malignant, inverted narcissist. Like, all one person could be all three of those things, because the characteristics, they're not limited. Like, everybody can, you could just mix it up. Like, you just throw them in a bag and just mix it all up, and then it's like, you're digging your hand in the bag and you don't really know which one you're gonna get. But yeah, society tends to portray narcissism as just being a superficial, like, yeah, I'm just all about myself. I'm about taking 3,000 selfies and putting it out on the internet and, just gaining attention, which is true because narcissists are like that. They like attention. They like attention. They like, people thwarting all of their attention on them. They like validation, but it's not the kind of validation that most of us seek. Narcissists seek validation for their ego, because their ego has been pretty much toyed with since they were kids. So if mom put her son on a pedestal because the son was pretty much fulfilling the mom's ego, if you have a narcissist mother, and obviously we know how narcissist parents are, you do for me, and it's like transactional love, then I'll do for you, I'll give to you. So if the son is fulfilling the mother's ego and he's doing everything to keep mom happy, mom is obviously going to put her son on a pedestal. She's going to project onto her son the ideals of herself onto her son. But now if the son cannot fulfill the mother and hold the mother's ego in its place and give the mother, her supply, because believe it or not, guys, parents do expect narcissistic supply from their kids. That's like number one. That's why we have scapegoats and golden childs and lost childs, and codependents, because depending on how the child can fulfill the parents' need of supply, the the child is pretty much in a no-win situation, because even at some point, if the mother is consistently putting her son on a pedestal, you know she won't be able to maintain that long, because if her son is high on that pedestal, and that means the attention is being thwarted from her to her son, she's going to yank him right back down. Yeah, it is. It is. And that's why you have a lot of men, you know, who are who have a very toxic connection with their mothers, because the mothers have made an unbalanced connection. They've made, it's like I said, if he can fulfill her supply and he could put her on the pedestal, then yeah, she's gonna, this is my prince, this is my little soon to be king, and this, because he's already boosting up her ego, he's already giving her the supply that she needs. But the minute he can't do that, or the minute, he's like, he drops the ball, he's a failure in his mother's eyes. So what does she do? She basically breaks him down, and she makes it very inconsistent. She creates inconsistency. It's pretty much like I said, it's transactional. Mommy says, if I can do this for mom, then mom is going to show me love. If I can fulfill mom in X, Y, and Z, then I'm going to get the love that I need, or the love that, I'm craving. And unfortunately, that type of relationship between mother and son, it can either create a narcissist, because she's showing him that you have to fulfill me in order to get something in return. It's all about me, me, me. And she's pretty much, passing that on to her son. So her son is going to be like, well, if this is how I'm going to get things, if this is how I'm going to get affection, if this is how I'm going to get attention, if this is how I'm going to do, I'm going to get all these things, I basically can manipulate people. Because even though he's not flat out saying I'm going to manipulate someone to get what I want out of a situation, definitely is, Jade. It's a very sick cycle. But he's not saying I'm going to manipulate someone. It's in their actions. It's in their actions. And dealing with narcissist mothers, when I did the narcissist mother, the 3-part video, so many people were, sending me messages, whether it was on YouTube or on Facebook, and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. My mother was just like this. And, there were so many traits of a narcissist mother. And as a mother myself, my son came into this world. I mean, he was in my womb for 9 months, and he was in my arms the minute they pulled him out and put him into my arms. And I teach my son, because you guys know my son is autistic. I teach my son how to be emotional. I went into his room the other day. This is funny. I went into his room the other day and I fell and I hit my knee. And I was like, ow, ow. And I was like rubbing my knee. And when you hit your knee, that bone that they call it a funny bone, but it's not so funny. That shit really hurts. He goes and he sees that mommy's in pain. So what does he do? He looks and he goes and he kisses my knee. He kisses my knee and then he rubs it, and that's because mommy, he knows empathy, he knows sympathy, he knows, oh, mommy's in pain, she's hurting. I love mommy because mommy would kiss my boo-boo when my boo-boo was hurting me, so I know to do that for her. And I have to teach my son these things. Like, we have people that are walking the earth that are not autistic, that are not mentally, that they are fully coherent, they're fully aware, and yet narcissists are, they choose to be. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. They choose to be this way. My best friend sent me an article, because she knows how much I delve into this, and she sent me an article stating that, some person put that, the common misconception about narcissists is that they're incapable of feeling empathy. No, they're not incapable of feeling empathy. When we're born with feeling. We're born with feelings. We are born with empathy. We are born with having feelings. When we come out the womb, what's the first thing that we do? We cry, right? That's a feeling. That's an emotion. We cry when we come out of the womb. And then from that point on, when our mothers are nurturing us and taking care of us and, supposed to be protecting us, when the mother leaves the hospital with her child, God only knows what goes on from that point. You're going to have two different types of mothers. You're going to have a mother who is, you know, actually, let me rephrase that. I'm going to amend that. You're going to have three types of mothers. Three types of mothers. You're going to have one who is the complete smotherer, like those mothers that are constantly like on their kids and constantly just, harping over them and just smothering them. You're going to have the mother who has avoidance, that they don't really, okay, yeah, it's my kid, I had a baby. All right. And they don't really know how to connect with the child. And then you're going to have the mother who is secure, where she is going to give her child affection, love, and attention, tend to the needs, because, babies always need to be tended to. They always, always, always need to be tended to. And as the child gets older, she's going to love them, give them affection, attention, sympathize, empathize with her kid. But she's also going to give her child a sense of autonomy too. So she could teach her child how to be independent, where it's, you're secure in knowing that I love you. You're secure in knowing that I'm here for you. I will always be here for you whenever you need me. But as you grow older, you need to become more independent in life. You have to learn how to do things for yourself. You have to learn, but I'm always going to be here if you need me. I'm always going to be here. That's more so the kind of mother that I am, where I love my son. I give him the affection. I give him the attention. We spend time together, and I still give him his space to be himself, to enjoy himself and have fun. That's the kind of thing, and like I said in my video, the female narcissist, why the female narcissist, I want to be able to know that if I leave this world, my son is going to be in good hands, and that he's going to treat a woman with respect, love, honor, and courtesy, and he's going to receive that in return. But oftentimes what we do when we don't heal certain traumas, because, it's a new day, if you guys have children, and if you've been through your own thing, you obviously do not want your kids to endure what you went through. You don't want your children to feel what it is you've gone through. And it's, hey, perfectly logical, perfectly reasonable. But unfortunately, when it comes to to narcissists. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm telling you, I told you guys last week. I think I have ADD because I'm bouncing back and forth. But if I'm making sense to you and you understand me, then that's all that matters. Um, the article that my friend told me about said that, the people misconstrue that narcissists are incapable of being empathetic, that they're confusing empathy with compassion, they're confusing this, they're doing this and that. And to me, that, like, that article felt like a sense of rationalizing. Like, I agreed to a certain extent, but it was like, you're kind of rationalizing certain things. Well, if you didn't, like, in other words, if you didn't perceive the narcissist to be unempathetic, they wouldn't be unempathetic. But then it went on to say that the narcissist would be able to demonstrate empathy depending on the type of person they're dealing with, depending on the type of person that they're involved with. And my thing of it was that, well, most narcissists like to abuse people that they perceive as weak because they like to be in control. They like to control situations. They like to be the ones that are in the driver's seat. They say who, what, where, when, why, how, and with a narcissist, what is it? Do as I say, not as I do. And you know, if you have people of secure attachments, or if you have people who are like, this shit ain't right. Like, I'm not doing this. You out of your damn mind. Those are people of secure attachments. Those are people who know their worth and know their value. This is why narcissists tend to go after codependent people. They go after people, either codependents or they go after empaths, which codependents and empaths share a lot in common. But they tend to go for the codependents because the codependents are, they don't really, codependents are people who really don't know self-love. They don't know, that sense of autonomy. They look on emotional, they emotionally are dependent on other people. So when a narcissist recognizes that in a person, this person must be a codependent person, because they're kind of, because codependents, yes, they're clingy. They want, affection, validation, and attention. So when a narcissist notices that, they will, of course, take advantage of it. They'll take advantage of it, and they will, it's like a playground for them. It's like a playground for them where they want to, they could do whatever they want, and you can't say anything. This is if you're a codependent. You can't say anything because they know that you're so insecure, and they know that you're really not going to go anywhere. Because all they have to do is just throw a few gaslighting, throw a little bit of gaslighting in there, and just be like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Like, are you really asking me this? Are you really bringing this to my attention? Are you really, like those types of phrases, and they'll like have you second guessing yourself, and they'll have you questioning yourself, like, okay, maybe I am wrong. Maybe this person is telling me the truth. They have ways of doing that. So you have to be very, very careful. Even if you're not a codependent, gaslighting is a technique used on everybody. With codependency, how do you spot the red flags? Meaning with the codependent or with the narcissist? Like, if you're a codependent in a relationship with a narcissist, how do you spot the red flags with them, or just within the dynamic within yourself? Because I mean, as a codependent, it most codependents who don't realize that they're codependent, because the only way of knowing that you're a codependent, of course, is going to a therapist or a psychiatrist. They're going to run tests on you, and they're going to basically ask you like 1,000,001 questions to basically understand your codependent, if you are codependent. Okay. In codependency, because what I've learned I'm going to give myself as an example. Okay, when I found out that I was codependent, I've learned that all of my relationships that I've had with different people in my past, I look back, because when you are woke, when you're too woke to go back to sleep, you look back at everything, and that's where you see where you went wrong everywhere. And prime example was, I was in a relationship I'm gonna say maybe, give or take, maybe 10 years ago. Um, and the person that I was with was clearly using me. He was using me for money. He was using me for, um, gratification. He was using me for just boosting up his ego. And whenever I couldn't do something, or whenever I couldn't measure up to certain things, he would get nasty. He'll have like a really nasty attitude. And if I couldn't come through on something, or if I couldn't, let's say, buy him something or a certain gift that he wanted or a certain present or whatever the case may be, he would get extremely nasty with me. And he'll just be like, you know what, Erica, just, I don't even want to fucking talk to you right now. Like, we're going to be 100 here, because that's how he talked to me. I don't even want to fucking talk to you right now. Just, just get the fuck out of my face. And I would sit there and be like, but what did I do wrong? What did I do? Like, I couldn't do this, but I'm trying to do that. Or I would try to compensate for something else. And he was just like, he got so, just so disgusting that I would literally like be like, what can I do to fix it? When you're codependent, you want to fix it. You want to fix it. That shit is toxic in your face. They look you in your face and they tell you, they could tell you straight to your face. And guys, you know me, I keep it real. I keep it 100 with you guys. They could tell you, go fuck yourself. And you still want to fix it. They can tell you, you're a pathetic piece of shit. And you still want to fix it. They can tell you, you know what? I'm sleeping with this person and they're better than you. But no, they can't love you better than I can. They can't be with you better, and you want to fix it. That is one of the biggest red flags, is where you are face to face with toxicity. Like, literally, the word toxic is in your face. You're face to face with it, but you don't see it. You don't see it. You don't see any of it, because you have been so blinded, and you just basically sat there thinking to yourself, he has a nasty attitude. It must have been something I did. It must have been something I said. That's the first thing you're going to do. It must have been something I did. What did I do? What did I do? What did I say? What did I, what can I do? What can I do to make your day brighter? What can I do so you're not in a nasty mood? And it could be something totally different. It has nothing to do with you. Something totally different. But you are internalizing it because he is taking it out on you. So you're taking that as, it's my fault. Codependency is where you will sit there and at some point say, it's walking on eggshells. That's another thing. It's walking on eggshells. So no matter what the other person does, you are trying not to rock the, you're not trying to rock the boat. You're not trying to rock the boat. You don't want to argue, but you're afraid to express because you are afraid an argument's going to come out of it. You're afraid to say something because you're like, something, I want to talk to this person about this situation, but I'm afraid to do it because I'm afraid they're going to take it the wrong way and it's going to start an argument. And it's going to be, it's just going to, I don't want to argue. I love this person and I don't want to argue. But you feel like any little thing you might bring to their attention or any little thing you might say or do is going to tip them off. And then what's going to happen? If you say something, you're like, you know what? You could even, I'll even go one further. You can say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm feeling this way and I need to express myself because at the risk of having an argument, I need to express myself because if I don't, then it's just going to, it's going to just stay stuck. So what do? You go to them, you talk to them. Babe, listen, can we just sit and talk for a second? Sure. And you sit and you express something to them. Listen, we haven't really been, doing the things like we used to do when we started dating. We haven't been doing this. We haven't, and I'm just curious as to know. And the minute before you could even finish your sentence, before you could even finish what you have to say, well, what the fuck? You don't think, what you don't You don't think I'm man enough, that I'm not holding my relationship down. You start getting aggression. You get rage. You know, what are you talking about? Didn't I just fucking take you out here the other day? Didn't we just do this? And didn't we just do... Babe, I don't want to argue with you. I'm just trying to talk to you. That's all. I'm just trying to... Well, you know what? You know what? If you don't think that I'm good enough for you, you know what? If you don't think that I'm being a man in this relationship, or I'm not the man that you fell in love with, then why don't you fucking leave? If you're familiar with that... I almost had a trigger there for a second. But if you are familiar with that, that is complete and utter manipulation. That is getting mad at you for expressing your feelings, getting mad at you for just bringing something to their attention. And the reason, I believe the reason is because with you bringing certain things to their attention, it triggers certain things within them. Because maybe at one point that was what happened to them. You know, maybe you have the ability, and first and foremost, guys, narcissists are walking triggers. Let's get that clear right now. They are walking triggers. Okay? They are walking triggers, and they are basically, because narcissists, see the difference between a narcissist and a codependent, similar to an empath, has been through abuse like a narcissist. But the codependent had decided not to inflict pain onto other people. You guys heard the saying, hurt people hurt people? I call that bullshit, to be honest. Hurt people hurt people. I find that to be bullshit, because I have been hurt. I have been hurt. I have been hurt plenty of times. Mentally, emotionally, physically, I have been hurt. But I would never put that pain on someone else. Never do that. And I think people who use that phrase as an excuse. That's an excuse. Well, this person was hurt. This person was abused. This person was this person was that. The fuck does that have to do with anything? I was hurt. I was abused. I was dragged through the mud. I was treated like crap. I was cheated on. I was all of these things. But I'm not putting that on anybody else. I'm not inflicting that pain on other people. So what makes it right that they're doing that? And that is what a narcissist is. A narcissist identifies with their abuser, so that's pretty much their answer to everything. Their answer to whatever the problems are. That's their answer. They'll sit there and be like, well, I went through X, Y, and Z, you know, because like I told you guys before, narcissists really don't feel that they deserve love, and, you know, they're just basically in it for their self-gratification, and once they're in, then they're out, and that's it. But to sit there and say, well, this person was hurt throughout their life, that's why they're hurting other people. I call that a cop-out. I call that a crock of shit. That's my honest opinion. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I call it a crock of shit, because I have been hurt. And yet, I still walk the face of this earth being kind, being generous, being genuine. I may not be that way with the people who have hurt me, which makes more sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it make more sense to not be the same person with the people who have hurt you, with the people who have put you through the ringer, the people who have lied to you and manipulated you and you know, deceived you? Yeah, you don't have to be the same person with those people. But I'm not going to inflict on other people who have absolutely nothing to do with any kind of abuse that I've had in my life. Why am I going to put that on someone else? That's not fair. That's not fair. And not only that, you're causing trauma in someone else. You know, so now you have your trauma, you're giving them some of your trauma. They have to deal with their trauma. So now it's like back and forth. And what are you doing? You guys are passing your traumas to each other back and forth. That's how a toxic relationship is. You're passing your traumas, you know? I'm a narcissist, you're a codependent. I'm passing you my trauma, you're passing me yours. But the difference here is that I, being the narcissist, I can't take your shit. I can't take your clinginess. I can't take your need for validation. I can't take your needs, your wants, your desires. I can't take any of that. But I'm going to give you my trauma. I'm going to pass it on to you. I'm going to give you all of the bullshit that I've been through. I'm going to pass it on to you. But the minute you try to throw your shit on me, no. No. Because they can dish it. Narcissists can dish it, but they won't take it. They won't take it. And one of the things that we also have to understand is that, because it doesn't necessarily have to be just narcissists, but you can be dealing with someone or people who are just extremely narcissistic, which means that they're not exactly narcissists, but they are extremely, like, on that borderline. They're extremely narcissistic. They display certain types of behaviors like a narcissist. They act like a narcissist, but they're not narcissists, which is like, it doesn't make sense sometimes, but then again, I understand it. And I mean, we're not talking regular players. We're not talking, guys who are just players and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna, shit on you and I'm gonna go with this girl and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna go here and do that. And there. No. We're talking about a narcissist is someone who has it already in their mind when they've seen you or when they've gotten involved with you. They already have it in their mind what they're going to do. They already have it planned out. Which is why I do a lot of videos on female narcissism, because female narcissism is talked about, but it's not talked about as much. Female narcissists, they're the worst. They are the worst. Narcissist mothers, narcissist ex-wives, ex-girlfriends, narcissist females are the worst. They are the worst because, like I said before, they run with the narrative of being good, kind-hearted people. Because women, what do guys think of us when women are depicted in front of society? We're depicted to be what? The weak sex, right? We're depicted to be the weak sex. We're the ones who have to walk around with the mace in our pocket or the pepper spray in our pocket because we're the weak sex. We're the ones who have to be, more careful. We're the ones who, are better off. Let's be honest. We're better off working office jobs than doing, construction jobs because it's a man thing. Those are the manly type jobs. People take women as being weaker and the men as being stronger. Physically, yes, I'm not going to deny that. You have men who are physically stronger. But when it comes to mentally and emotionally, no fucking way. There's no way. There is no way. First and foremost, women they're more developed mentally. They develop faster than men. We develop faster than men. Women are natural emotional creatures. So we are naturally, once we come out the womb, it's like we already have that emotion. But the female narcissist, because female narcissists are not born, they're created. They're made to be that way. So if you're dealing with a female narcissist, if you are, whatever part of your life is dealing with a female narcissist, whether it be friends, girlfriend, mother, wife, understand that they weren't born that way. They were created to be that way. They were created to basically get what it is that they can by any means necessary and fuck everybody else. That's the plain version of it. Just screw everybody else. I'm walking the face of this earth, and it usually is the ones who are the attention stealers. The female narcissists who are, it's like they have a certain type of look to themselves, a certain type of appeal. They know that they do, and they use that to lure men in. So if you see these females that are like, I'm not saying every beautiful woman is a narcissist, but if you see like those really exotic females who are very, it's like, I know I'm like, they give you that aura, that demeanor. I know I'm the shit. I know I look good, and I know that I can have any man I want. And a lot of the time they will use that to their advantage. And oftentimes It will be men who are, one, very insecure of themselves. A lot of these female narcissists go for men who are insecure because they know that these men, since they're not secure with themselves, they're going to put all their primal focus on the female. They're going to put all of their thought on the female. You're not secure with yourself. That's why that's when you hear these females say, "Oh, well, I shouldn't go for looks because, the I don't like this saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway, where they be like, they'll date ugly guys because they have the best hearts. When you got a female narcissist, they're dating a man that they perceive as less than them because that man is going to fill up her ego tank royally. Not only is he going to fill up her ego tank, but because she has already given the illusion that she is the best thing to ever happen to him and she's the best thing to ever come into his life, she is going to take that and she's going to run with it. Whereas she's going to do her dirt. She's going to do her dirt. She's going to go out there. She's going to screw around. She's going to get attention and narcissistic supply from different sources. She'll cheat. Female narcissists are, they know cheating all too well. They really don't know fidelity. They don't know honesty, let alone fidelity. Okay? Female narcissists are the types of females, they'll abandon their kids. They do that too. They will abandon their kids. Female narcissists are known to abandon their children because they feel that having children is taking away from their unique, because they're very unique. Female narcissists are extremely unique. Don't dare sit there and say that she's not. She will abandon her responsibilities because it's not on her list of things to do. And if these types of females are willing to abandon their kids, trust me, they will be willing to abandon you in a relationship. They will be willing to abandon you in a friendship. They do not care. But they will pose for the world, of course. I don't know if you're familiar with the female narcissist. They pose for posers. They do pose for the world. So if your mom was a female narcissist and you never really had an emotional connection, yep, emotionally, mentally, and in some cases physically abandon their children. And if your mom was a narcissist and you really didn't have that connection with her, but I don't know if it's happened to you guys. I mean, I'm pretty sure some people are familiar with it, but it's where the mom is behind closed doors. Yep. Yep, physical abandonment is a common thing too, and it's really sad. It really is. I would never ever consider abandoning my child. Never. He's been in my hips since the day he was born, and probably till the day I die. So that's just not gonna happen. But, but if you're familiar with a female narcissist, like for example, a mother female narcissist will, like behind closed doors, there's no emotion. There's no connection. It's just do as I say, don't ask questions, and this is my house, it's my way or the highway, that type of demeanor. There is no type of emotional connection with the child. That's just been pretty much blocked off. But because she needs to appear to be mommy of the year, what is she going to do? She's going to show everyone else that she's the world's greatest mother. And she's going to, take pictures and come here, little Susie, or whatever the name is, and let's take a picture together and stuff. And while little Susie's coming in thinking, oh, mommy wants to spend time with me. Okay, maybe this is that time that we'll be able to spend time together. It's just a snap. All right, go ahead. You can go back to whatever you were doing. And then what happens? She's already posting up, putting pictures, or people are just getting this perception that, wow, you're really a great mom. Wow, you really love your daughter, or you really love your son. And the reality of it is that what goes on behind closed doors, if only they knew. If only they knew. Narcissistic parents, narcissistic abuse, psychological abuse is the type of abuse that you cannot physically see. You can't physically see. You can only, sense certain things. You can sense abuse But it's not like, alcoholic abuse or drug abuse where you can, tell these people are, drug addicts or they're alcoholics and there's physical abuse going on. No, narcissistic abuse is pretty much the kind of abuse that people think they know, but they really don't know. People think they know, but they really don't know. I can't tell you how many people that I know, that I knew, and that I know of who have narcissists in their midst and they don't even realize it. They don't even realize it. And it's crazy because when I started doing female narcissists known to be abusive? Yes, they are. They are known to be abusive. Female narcissists, a lot of them resort to physical abuse because, especially if they're not like getting their way in a situation. Yes, when they're not getting their way in a situation, they can resort to that because a lot of females, which is why I don't like when females when they take advantage of hitting men. I don't like that because it's like I'm going to keep putting my hands on you and knowing that the man is not going to strike back. But I mean, listen, at some point, men do get tired. They get fed up. And, you hit a man long enough, trust me, at some point, he's just going to hit you back and he's not going to think twice about it. But they do run with that. I can get physically aggressive and abusive with you because if it boiled down to it, if we had to call the cops or whatever, who's going to go to jail here, me or you? Who's going to go to jail? And they will falsify, they can falsify statements. Mm-hmm. To their kids. If they wanted to get, yeah, if they really, really, which is crazy because I honestly, I never met my grandmother on my mother's side. I never met her. But the stories that I've, heard where she would, the how she would treat the women, and it clearly showed narcissism, more I even maybe even borderline sociopath. So it was kind of where I understood why my mom with us, wasn't as emotional because my grandmother was clearly, she was clearly the kind of person that was just like not a very, you know, just not very, very good person. Not a very good person. And I mean, I don't put any disrespect on my grandmother, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we're gonna call a spade a spade. And when it came to, because remember back in the day, how the old folks say, well, back in my day, we used to get hit with, broomsticks and, wire hangers and extension cords and all kinds of stuff or whatever. And their aggression, they can get bad. You have female narcissist mothers, and this is really, really sick, but you have female narcissist mothers who will allow sexual abuse on their children, all to keep a marriage intact. If they're married and, yeah, if they're married and if they enjoy living a certain type of lifestyle, they have a husband, let's say he's the breadwinner, and he's the one who makes the money. She doesn't have to work. She could just be the housewife or do whatever. If the husband comes home, like say, if he's an aggressor, could be, he could be an aggressive person, but any type of abuse gets thwarted onto the children to basically, so it'll bounce off of her and it'll go to her child. If the husband, so if the husband comes home and he's mad, he had a really bad day and he's been drinking and he's mad. Oh yeah, absolutely. You can have two narcissists in a romantic relationship. And the thing of it is, depends on what two types of narcissists you have. Okay? Because, like, for example, when I did the video on the inverted narcissist is the codependent narcissist. So that type of dynamic would make sense if you have a codependent narcissist, if you have someone who is codependent and can only maintain a dynamic with another narcissist. whether it be a romantic relationship or even a familial relationship, because you have inverted narcissists. hmm you have inverted narcissists who, like, for example, if you have a narcissist and he or she is a codependent narcissist and they live at home with their narcissist parent, but they are like so drawn in, like they're just attached that they just can't seem to, they feel like that narcissist is their lifeline. That narcissist is the one who, you know in my opinion, has their balls in their hand, but that's my opinion. But you can have two narcissists in the same dynamic. Depending on the type of narcissist they are, that determines how long the dynamic will last. Because remember, when you got two people who want to have control, who want to be in complete control, that doesn't last very long. It's like a time bomb. It's like a ticking time bomb where it's like one, two, three, boom. And even if they get back together, because we know that narcissists like to reuse, recycle. They like to recycle their exes. They like to recycle people that they were dealing with. If they decide to get back into a dynamic again, what happens? One, two, three, boom. Then back into it again. One, two, three, boom. So it's like that cycle. They keep going back and forth. They are completely toxic for one another, yet they are drawn to one another. And that makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. But I mean, for someone to be attracted to narcissism, or not even to be attracted just to toxicity, like, you have people that are attracted to toxic relationships. They want a toxic person because it lets them feel like this person. People misconstrue toxicity with love. You understand? Like, the types of behaviors, toxic behaviors, they mistake that with love. Like, oh, this person's really jealous and they're getting angry and they've got their hand around my throat and they must really love me. No, motherfucker, that dude is toxic. And that is not right. You don't do that. Okay? He's punching you in your face because he is toxic. He's not good news. He's no bueno. It's not because his jealousy leads, it's love. No, love is not jealous. Love is not insecure. But you have people that like to be in toxic dynamics. They like to be with toxic people. And they like that, the arguing. They like the back and forth. They like the button pushing. They like all of that. And I never could understand that, but you do have people that are like that. And for me, that's like, maybe because I was a codependent, because being a codependent, well, an ex-codependent, codependents don't ask for toxicity. We don't ask for someone who's toxic. We don't want toxic people, but we just naturally attract them. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It slips in what's from, exactly. You're basically, it's like when I said before, two broken souls attract one another. It's just, with a codependent person, a codependent was either raised by a narcissist, or even if the parent was non-narcissist, but they have avoidant attachment, which means that they did not connect on an emotional level with the child, and it left the child feeling very insecure, very anxious. I have a video on attachment styles, so if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It tells you which attachment style you have. An attachment style is that cord that you have with your parents that determines how you attach to other people. So codependents usually have what's called anxious, insecure attachment, because the parents were inconsistent. The parents were back and forth, in and out, and the child could not understand, where the child internalized that something must be wrong with me. Why does this person keep leaving my life? Why does this person keep coming in and out? They start to gain trust issues. Codependent people have extreme trust issues because people naturally, they're abandoned. People consistently abandon them. So when you're dealing with someone, why can't two codependents love each other and happily? Two codependents, I think They need to go through their healing first. They need to go through their trauma and then meet with each other again and love each other. Because two codependents in a relationship, it's kind of like two narcissists in a relationship. It would be completely toxic. Codependents do display toxic behavior. They display toxic behavior in that they are, if they're with someone who is secure, not a narcissist, secure person, just, I'm not going to say no trauma, we'll say limited trauma. But their behaviors would be considered toxic because of the fear of abandonment, the fear of being left behind. So they will like cling on to someone. They don't want to be left behind. They don't want to be, so when a codependent person is in a relationship with someone, they're allowing their trauma to take over. And instead of it being love, it's attachment. Codependents have a problem with deciphering the difference between the two. They think it's love when they're trying to control the dynamic, when they're trying to feel like, I want to do, like, I want things, codependents want things to be done in their way, but it's not like how a narcissist is, where it's like, it's my way or the highway. They want things to be done in their own way because they feel like it's for the best for everyone. Well, let's do it my way because I know what's best for you guys. That's the mentality of a codependent. A narcissist is, do it my way because I said so. That's the big difference. So codependents with that trauma, they're always going to have failed relationships. Okay, so my narc had me feeling like I was yes. The narcissist will have you feeling like you are the narcissist. They will, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna go. Okay. So Butch says, so my narc had me feeling like I was the narc, and I've been out on a couple of dates, rebound. I'm going to find that summer her behaviors are still residual in me. I'm now into the solution. Well, something, I'll tell you something. Narcissists, they definitely, when, I think, and this is my opinion, guys, I think when narcissists start to find new supply, or they're starting to get a little bored, or they're starting to like notice, other people elsewhere, my honest opinion is that they'll try to reverse everything onto you. And they'll try to say, well, you know what, this is toxic. You're being toxic. You're being narcissistic. You're doing this, you're doing that. And they use that as a way to basically manipulate the dynamic. So that way they have reason to discard you. When they make you feel like you're the one who's being the narcissist, and them discarding you was justified, them doing what they did to you was justified, excuse me, it's because they managed to turn it around and say, well, he or she was narcissistic, they were this, they were that, they flip everything around. We already know what narcissists do. They run the mind games, they do the gaslighting, they got the flying monkeys, they do triangulation, they do all of those things. But when they try to flip it onto you, my personal opinion is because they already started, their interest started going somewhere else. And now they have to figure out a way to maneuver out from one dynamic into another, because with narcissists, they bounce from one to the other. They don't even give time in between. They're just bouncing from one relationship to another. So when they try to do like reverse psychology, or they try to say, oh well, this is just so toxic between us, and you have control issues, and you notice how it all gets thrown to you. It just all gets thrown to you. Like, I'm the one who started this, I'm the one who's toxic, I'm the one. So we're just gonna basically blame me for everything, and you had nothing to do with anything. That's what you're saying? I relaxed. Glad you made it. But you're gonna blame me for everything that happened between us, and you did nothing wrong. You did absolutely nothing wrong. This was all me. And they feel justified in their behaviors. They feel justified in doing what it is that they do. And narcissists walk with, first of all, they walk with this godlike complex. I don't know where the hell they get it from, but they walk with that kind of complex of, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm better than you. And they that's like the energy they put out there. They put out the, I'm like elite. I'm better than you on so many levels. I'm better than you in so many ways. And yet, you know, the reality of it is that they're weak little, they're just very, very broken children deep down inside. But they can't show you that. They can't show you that. They can't let you know that. They will not be able to let you know that I'm severely broken. I am severely just, hurt deep down inside. I don't rationalize with narcissists. I do not justify their behaviors because at the end of the day, narcissists or not, you're a grown person. You know when you're hurting someone. You know when you're lying to someone. You know when you're manipulating. You know when you're doing all of these things. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. I don't like to rationalize with anybody when it comes to manipulation and abuse because at the end of the day, if you're going to run and use that as an excuse to treat people like shit or sit there and be like, you know what do you expect? I mean, this happened to me from X, Y, and Z. Then go confront X, Y, and Z. That has nothing to do with me. That's my attitude about it. That's my take on it. But, guys, we just got to understand that when it boils down to it, pathological narcissism, it's important that people really, really do more research into it. Definitely do more research into it because it's just so deep rooted and it's so generational that it's like in most cases you can't change everybody. You can't fix the world. You can't fix people around you. The most you can do is remove yourself from the element, remove yourself from the dynamic, and just pray to God that, hey, work on that person. But if you acknowledge that you're a codependent, if you acknowledge that you're not a codependent, but you're just someone who is severely, severely mentally abused by a manipulator or a narcissist or, sociopath, hell, even a psychopath, you really have to focus more on taking care of yourself, healing yourself, and just, trying to remove that residual energy because that energy lingers on. It attaches itself to you and it lingers on and it just drives you insane. It really drives you insane because you have so much that you got to deal with your own trauma, and then you just took on a shitload of trauma from someone else and that had nothing to do with you. You're dealing with so many different demons to the point that they're getting intertwined and you don't know which is what. You don't know whose demons you're fighting. You don't know why you're fighting them. And, for me, I mean, you guys already know my story. I mean, my story is a lot deeper. It is a lot deeper. And it's this recent, not recent, but a couple of years ago, this recent incident was the catalyst. That was what broke the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Because I went through so many years of codependency. I went through so many years of attracting narcissists, attracting my ex that I told you about before from like a decade ago. I found out he was bipolar. I didn't even know. I found out later on, that he was bipolar. I have attracted different types of men that seem normal, they seem kind, they seem loving. They seem to be the type of guys that were like, Rick, I want to get to know you. I want to, all right, cool, get to know someone. You don't bring, yeah, they're bipolar. And I have nothing against people who are bipolar. I know people who suffer from bipolar disorder. I I mean, listen, there is nothing wrong with that because they didn't ask for that. But imagine having someone who's not only bipolar, but is a narcissist. That's, it's like, okay, you can't it is what it is. You know, that's something that you inherit. But the other, being a narcissist, no, no. So you're not only bipolar, but you are a narcissist. Absolutely. And then he didn't want to. He didn't want to. And that was actually what I didn't know about him being bipolar until like towards the end, because you know how it is. You don't find shit out until like the end, the end of things, and you're just like sitting there like all mind fucked, and you're like, what the hell just happened? And then you find out. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. That still isn't an. That's not an excuse for you being an asshole to me, because I'm gonna tell you guys something. When it boiled down to my relationships, was I perfect? Being a codependent? No, you're not perfect. You are not perfect. You know, being a codependent at that time, didn't realize that I was, but was I, I was clingy, yes. I was insecure, yes. I was worried because I always had a fear of abandonment, which was the reason why I stayed in relationships longer than I should have, because I kept trying to justify myself. I kept trying to prove myself. I kept trying to, and narcissists will do that. They'll look down their nose to you. They'll be like, that's how they look at you. They'll look down their nose to you, even though you're like, I love you. Shit, I damn near worship you. There's nothing I wouldn't do for you. There's nothing I wouldn't do to have you in my life, to keep you in my life. And they will sit there looking at you like you are being privileged with their presence. You are the one who should feel privileged. Meantime, you're standing there going through a complete emotional breakdown because you don't realize that you are being abused. You don't realize that you're being manipulated. You don't realize you're being gaslit. You don't realize any of these things. And you are sitting there crying your eyes out. You're sitting there and don't want to take the, yeah. Yeah, you have bipolars who definitely, because they have highs and lows, they have high highs and low lows. So when it comes to bipolar disorder, they are, they don't, the meds are mostly because, you have a lot of doctors who prescribe meds for depression, bipolar depression. But when you have someone who is bipolar, I mean, everyone is different, so I can't say everyone, but when you have certain people who are bipolar and they're at their highs, they're not thinking depression. They're not sitting there, if you're at your highest high, how are you thinking about depression? You're at like the top of the mountain, for yourself. So they're not thinking like, oh, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really egotistical. I'm feeling really full of myself. Maybe I should go to the doctor and get some meds because I don't want to feel that way anymore. No, no. But you do have people who do suffer, and they just want to not suffer anymore. And like I said, there is nothing wrong with bipolars. There's nothing wrong with people who have bipolar disorder. It's a disorder that they've inherited. It's not something they wanted. It's just something that, that was passed on to them. And as long as they are taking their meds, because once you acknowledge you have a mental illness, it is your responsibility to make sure that you take all the necessary medications that you got to take, or go through whatever therapy you got to go through, or do whatever it is you have to do in order to maintain that. You don't just want to be like, okay, well, I'm a schizophrenic, but I'm not going to do anything about it. That's completely irresponsible. Not just for yourself, but for other people, because schizophrenics, schizoids, anything can happen, whether it be with you or it be with someone else. So that's being completely irresponsible. And I tell people, I think sometimes people who suffer from bipolar disorder, and I think that's probably the reason why he didn't tell me that he has bipolar disorder, was because he was ashamed and he was scared that if he told me, then I was going to leave. That I was going to be like, no, I can't, I cannot be with somebody like that. If you tell me I have bipolar disorder, Erica, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, are you taking your meds? Are you taking the proper precautions? Because just because someone has bipolar disorder does not mean that they're psychotic, doesn't mean that they're crazy, doesn't mean any of that. All it means is you have a certain chemical imbalance in your brain, and I need to be sure if I'm going to be in a relationship with you that you're handling that. Because I have a child. My son always comes first, and I don't give a shit, episode or not. I got a very big frying pan on my stove over there that'd be more than glad to knock you upside your skull. So you decide what you want to do with that. I personally do not, I don't have anything against people who suffer from mental illnesses. And as long as they are taking care of it, and as long as they are doing the, taking the proper precautions. But when it comes to personality disorders, um, that all really depends. You have people who suffer borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder, people, it is a real thing. People do suffer from it. I had a relative who suffered from it. And but she did the responsible things. She went for help. She went for help. She got medication. She took, she followed what she needed to do. You have all different types of personality disorders. Narcissism being the key one that we're talking about, because let's face facts, narcissism is very, very, it's much more common. And one other thing, guys, I want to mention to you in regards to that, you have other personality disorders that resemble narcissism, but it's not narcissism. You have, I did a video on it too. You have borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and ASPD, in which ASPD is antisocial personality disorder. There are features in these personality disorders that resemble the same features of narcissism. And most cases, I tell people, make sure the person is diagnosed, make sure the person gets the proper diagnosis, because you can spend 5-10 years saying this person is a narcissist, come to find out they're a borderline, or come to find out they have ASPD, which ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, is most common in sociopaths, and sociopaths are, they're more dangerous, and they're like one step away from the psychopath. But narcissists, when it boils down to it, guys, if you're dealing with a narcissist, if you dealt with a narcissist, if you have, you know, just broken up with one, if you are in the middle stages of your healing, right now, the stage that I am in for myself, and I'm not even talking about just, as far as dealing with narcissists, or because at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a doctor, and I could not diagnose these guys, but I went basically solely on the behaviors of these people. And, it took a lot for me to get over it. It took a lot for me. I'm still not over it. I'm one of those people, I'm sorry to say, actually, I'm not. I hold a grudge. I can hold a grudge for many years, and I'm not over the behaviors because it was unacceptable. And when behaviors are unacceptable, if you are not over it, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, you got to forgive them and get over it and move on with your life. No, you don't have to get over it. You don't have to get over the fact that it was unacceptable. You have to heal, get over it for yourself, in that, get out of that mind frame. Get out of that, this person screwed me over, fucked my head up really badly. I'm never gonna love again. I'm never gonna be with anybody. I'm never gonna trust anyone. That's what you have to get out of. You got to get out of that. You have to get out of that, because that person who screwed you over, that person who is gaslighting you, the person who is covertly abusing you, the person who was lying to you, who was cheating on you, the person who was doing all of that, they were just projecting. That's all they were doing. They were projecting. Then when they cheated and they did what they did, what did they do? They used you as an excuse, right? They used you as the reason why they cheated. You weren't giving me attention, you weren't giving me affection, you weren't doing this, you weren't doing that. So I went and I did that over here with that person. It's your fault that I did it. That's deflection, and that's one of the biggest manipulative tools that they use. Don't go for it. Don't. I spent so many years. People look at me now and say, well, What have you been doing now? Honestly, I've been single for the past 2 years, guys. 2 years I've been single. No dating. Why? Why am I gonna date someone so I can put that bullshit that I've been through onto them? I'm not doing that. I have no dating. Focused on my healing. I practice avoidance, like I told you guys last week. Avoidance. Not last week. I told you guys in the video for the no contact with the narcissist. Practice avoidance. I basically did out of sight, out of mind. I completely removed people from my life, removed people from my peripherals, removed them from my energy, and now I'm at a point where I'm no longer in that pain. I'm no longer worried about being triggered. I'm just like, I'm indifferent. You become indifferent. But don't stay indifferent. Like, you can become indifferent and sit in that for a little bit. Become indifferent towards the situation, but don't be an indifferent person. That's the problem that a lot of us do. When we go through something with people and then we're like, that's it. I don't want to be with anybody. I don't want to be with anyone. I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to bother with anyone. Just just leave me be. Just I don't want to bother with anyone. When you do that, you tend to restrict yourself, but most importantly, when you allow someone in, because you're not really letting go of the, what transpired, and you're just pretty much feeling disgusted with love, but you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna let it in, you're gonna end up hurting someone else. And you're gonna end up doing to someone else what was done to you. I encourage people during healing stages, do not date, do not do anything. Just stay to yourself, heal yourself, clear out your energy, clean all that out, clean all that mess out, and then, just work from that point on. Work from that point on. And I actually wanted to because when I do these live chats, I wanted, not that I'm going to give you guys homework, because I'm not going to do that, but I wanted to do word of the day. And I wanted to give you a word for the day that you take with you, and you look up the meaning, and then you basically take that word and apply it to, what have you done in your life in reference to that word. So in other words, what have you gone through? What have you done? What actions have you taken? What steps have you taken? And apply that word, because a lot of the time keywords are important. Keywords, listen to keywords, because that's also what helps you determine the red flags. That's also what helps you understand better. And it helps you for the future. So that way, if you attract someone, you start seeing those red flags. Man, I started seeing red flags and I'm like, nope, nope. I started dodging bullets. I was like, no, no, oh, hell no. That was my attitude. When you first start seeing red flags, you're gonna be like, you're just gonna be like, no, no, no. Everybody has a catalyst point, guys. We all have catalyst points. If you are with someone who's a narcissist and you're watching and you're just like, you know what, I want to get ideas, I'm not knocking you and I'm not judging you, because we all still have cycles that we got to go through. I have my catalyst point, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to have yours too. A lot of you are going to have yours. And that's where you're moving up to the next level and you're saying, okay, done, just completely done. But, just remember, guys, that you got to put your mental health first. You got to put your well-being first. If you got children, they come first. Think about your children, because if you're dealing with someone who suffers from a mental illness, who has a personality disorder, you got to think about how it's going to affect your kids. Fuck all that other shit. You have to think about your children comes first. And if you decide to be with someone who acts like this, if you decide to be with someone who has these types of behaviors, you got to remember that that person is going to be in your life. That person is going to be influencing your children. Okay? I learned a lot of different things. And when it comes to my son is like a sponge. He absorbs. And no, I will not put my son through that. I'll be alone for the rest of my life before I even bother to deal with anybody. That's how much over my codependency I am. That I'd rather be alone than deal with anyone who is just going to be it's just gonna be the way a narcissist is, whether they're a narcissist or not. I refuse to go through that again. And I'm still working at it, guys. I'm still working at it. But, you know, I'm glad that you guys came out. I'm glad that you guys joined, and a little longer than I anticipated. It was a lot longer than last week's live, but you know, we covered a lot more grounds. We covered a lot more bases. Thank you. Yeah, it is. I mean, you have to put your children first. And my son is my life. My son is my world. And if it meant being alone, then I'll be alone. I'll be alone. I mean, it's not a big deal. It really isn't. And honestly speaking, my last relationship, the experience with my last relationship, it just taught me that I think I am better off being alone. I think that, you know what? You can contribute so much, and people can take advantage, people can take you for granted, but at the end of the day, you know, I would never. One thing I'm going to tell you guys, I've been through what I've been through. Do I hate him? No, I don't hate him. I don't have a bone in my body that can hate someone. I don't hate him. And I will probably never hate him. But I am just completely indifferent, because it is what it is, you know? I was in love. I fell in love with someone. I know the feeling. So guys, if you think I don't know, trust me, I do, because I didn't get over him. I didn't get over the relationship. I didn't get over the dynamics. I didn't get over everything overnight. It took me 2 years. 2 years to get over everything. It took me 2 years. Oh, you're welcome, Jade. You're welcome. You stay blessed too. And just understand that it may take a while, but trust me. Trust me. Slow and steady always wins the race. It always wins the race, and you will get through it. And when you reach the level that I'm at now, and you can no longer be triggered, and you can no longer be hurt, and you can no longer feel that pain. You sometimes feel anger, you sometimes feel annoyance, you sometimes feel, I'm not gonna lie, you feel disgust, but you'll be fine. You will be fine. But guys, my goodness, it's been like an hour and a half, and I love talking to you guys. I love relaying with you guys. I love resonating with you guys. I think I might have to do, I don't know. Let me know, guys, if I should start maybe doing the lives like a little later, like maybe 9 o'clock, if that works for you guys, or is 8 o'clock fine? I mean, I know this uploads and people can still watch it. So, I wanted to just do 8 o'clock because I figured, it's a more fairly decent time. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for, oh, by the way, just if in case anyone decides to come back, the word that I wanted to give you guys to use was transference. Okay? Transference. It's a word that is used in psychology. It's used plenty of times. I want you to look up the word and figure it out. Figure out how you applied transference in your life. Figure out how the person that was in your life, how they applied transference, and maybe you might get more of an understanding. Little by little, you'll get more of an understanding. But I'll put it in the description box. I'll put, the word that you got to look up, and any kind of information, other information. I'm also going to put my email address in case you guys want to send me any messages, or if you want to ask questions. I'm here. I love working with you guys. I love seeing the fact that you guys can come out and, and it could be therapeutic for you. It really can. So don't hesitate to write. If you want to share your story, please let me know. I'll be more than glad to give you the stage and you guys can speak on it. And maybe next week I will we'll work on different things. I think I'll just make like a poll or something where you guys can let me know what exactly you would like to talk about. I think that would probably be better. Because if not, I'll just keep rambling. I'll keep talking. I'm a chatterbox. I all the time. So, but definitely let me know if you have any suggestions, if there's any topics you want to talk about, and what I could do is I could write it. Hi, Revolucia. Wait. Chicanista. Welcome. You came. Well, you know what? You can rewind to the front because I'm actually about to close this out. But thank you so much for joining. Better late than never. That's perfectly fine. We had a lot to talk about. We had a lot to discuss, for this week. So, but I'm glad that you were able to make it. But yeah, guys, leave me any suggestions that you have. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. Let me know if there's anything you'd like for me to talk about. Richard, nice to meet you, Richard. Erica, if there's anything you want to talk about, anything you think, I can, any topics I can touch, let me know. Let me know. I'm always open for suggestions. I'm always open for anything that you guys would love to, because that's what this is for. It's to help people, give us some form of therapy, even if it's just once a week, and just be there for one another. All right, guys. So please definitely let me know. I'm going to work on some things for next week, and I'm going to be working on a video that I will be putting out next week. I'm going to be working on it by the end of this week, and it's going to be with a very good friend of mine. I'm super excited because she definitely is a survivor story all on her own, and she's one of the strongest people that I know. So I'm definitely excited about that. So guys, again, thank you all for joining. Thank you all. And for those who could not make it but will be able to watch the video at another time, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and invite anybody that you want, maybe who needs to see it, maybe who needs to, maybe they'll get a little something out of anything that was said in there. All right. And I'm going to work on organizing it more better when it comes to topics. See, I'm working on it little by little. I got the background good. I got the lighting good. I got the phone good. Now I'm going to work on topics. So we're just going to kind of go down and move it forward that way. It's more easier that way. So guys, I have to get this little man to bed because he has school tomorrow. But as always, I love reaching out to you guys. It's always great talking to you all. Great seeing you guys interact, and it's great to know that you guys are really supportive, and I'm really, really appreciative of it. You have no idea. All right, so I'm going to be going, but I wish you all a great night. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment, or like I said, you can email me. And I hope to be seeing you guys next week. I'll be working on those videos for you. That's what I do. All right, guys, so much love to you all. Thank you for joining me, and until next week. Namaste. Night, guys.